Midnight light on a dim lit screen, clicking through stories you wouldn't believe. Cold case trails and courtroom scenes, whispers from the grave and media dreams. Truth is stranger, hearts beat faster in the shadows of a news disaster. Scrolling deep where secrets hide, you found the stories time won't deny. Headstones and headlines, the tales collide. Justice and mystery, side by side. From backwoods crimes to breaking news lines, you shine a light where the silence lies. Oh, headstones and headlines, you dig where the truth won't die. Small town rumors and guilt and fear, a voice for the lost who can't speak here. Through every name, through every case, you hold the truth in a steady place. Cameras roll, but justice lingers. Truth unravels through careful fingers. You tell the story, you speak their names in a world that's quick to look away. Headstones and headlines, the tales collide. Justice and mystery, side by side. From missing files to late night trials, you chase the echoes through every mile. Oh, headstones and headlines, you dig where the truth won't die. Some run from the dark, you walk right in with a question and a camera lens. It's not just the crime, it's the lives they live. The voice is still talking from the books unread. Headstones and headlines, the veil is thin. Truth gets louder when you begin. With every view, with every line, you bring the forgotten back to life. Oh, headstones and headlines, you dig where the truth won't die. Yeah, headstones and headlines, you tell the stories that time can't hide.
Hey everyone, happy Friday. Thanks for being here, especially on such short notice. It was another beautiful day here today, so I was outside for a while, and when I got back, I realized that Colt Gray, the Georgia school shooter, pled guilty to all charges. It's called a it's a non-negotiated blind plea, which means the judge will ultimately decide what his sentence will be. So I figured I would watch it anyway, so I might as well watch it with all of you, even if there's only a few of us. And as I said in chat, it is very long. It's still going on. So I am going to adhere to my 2 hours, and whatever we don't finish today, we will finish up tomorrow. Because like I said, I got home, saw it, and I was like, let me schedule it. And so anyways, thanks everyone for being here. I did see Summer here is listening at work. Cheese, anyone else who may be in the bushes, thanks for being here. I see there's a few people that are possibly watching in the bushes. So I appreciate you being here. We're going to get started right away. And just for those of you who may not remember Colt Gray, let's see, where do I want to start? So in Winder, Georgia, on, I don't remember the exact date. It was 2024. And we watched the trial of his dad, Colin Gray, who bought the gun for Colt, knowing he had anger issues, et cetera, et cetera. There were warning signs. He brought, an AR-style rifle to school in his backpack. He hid it with poster board around it, a hat on top. A teacher there did think it was strange, so she did notify administration. Unfortunately, they found the wrong Colt Gray because there were 2 Colt Grays in the same class, and several kids lost their lives, and a teacher. I believe it was one teacher. I should have looked it up, but I was rushing. Let me see. Here we go. I just want to be sure that I'm correct. So September 4th, 2024, in Winder, Georgia. At the time he was 14, he shot 4 people. 2 students and 2 teachers were killed, while 7 others were injured by the gunfire. His father, as I had said, bought the rifle for his son despite his knowledge of a previous police investigation regarding alleged school shooting threats made by him. So in a Discord server, there were threats made, and it was reported. Police went to the home and didn't do anything. But Dad, knowing that there was a threat made that led to his home, still bought his son a gun for Christmas, the Christmas prior to the shooting. So about 9 months prior. Grandma also testified she was she was ordering him things from online. It was just, there was a lot of red flags that should have been listened to. Hey, KCG, thanks for being here. Hey, Lunatic, good to see you. Yeah, blind plea, that's what it's called. I hadn't either, because I just saw, pleads guilty to all 55 charges, and then I had seen an article that said a non-negotiable blind plea, which I guess you don't like. So I'm guessing that means there wasn't a plea deal, because I would assume a plea deal, you would know, it wouldn't be a blind sentencing, you'd know what you were going to get. But I'm just making assumptions. So there were victim impact statements. They do have witnesses that testified in front of court, and I'm wondering if Colt himself will testify in this hearing. I don't know, because I have not looked ahead. I don't know. So I'm going to be learning all of this with you. I just know that he pled guilty. Yeah, right. No contest. Yeah. I do have this on 1 1/4 speed, so if it is too fast, let me know. But for the sake of time, I thought, the faster we can get through it, the better. All right, so, and unfortunately, there is not closed captioning because it's still live. And there will be volume.
Is everybody ready to proceed?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. For the record, can you put your name on the record, please? Okay. What I need you to do is that microphone off or on?
It's off.
For now, if you don't mind turning it on, make sure that. And how old are you, Mr. Gray? 16 years old. You're represented by Mr. Charles Allen.
And the volume, it appears the volume gets better, because when I was looking through to see how long this was, hopefully it gets better, but I'm going to try to not talk loud because I had to just turn mine up.
Mr. Allen, if I'm correct, you've been representing him since the beginning of the year, is that right?
Yes, sir. I was retained on December 18th.
Mr. Gray, my understanding is you were before me this morning because you consented to a guilty plea to the indictment. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
I want to go over some very important rights with you before you enter a guilty plea, okay?
Yes, sir.
So understand that the decision to plead guilty has to be voluntary on your part. No one can force you to enter a guilty plea, because you have an absolute right to a jury trial. So if you wanted a jury trial, you would have seen one, we have one scheduled in October. Understand that.
Yes, sir.
Understand that Mr. Allen would represent you throughout the jury trial. Understand?
Yes, sir.
And that at trial, you'd be presumed innocent. You could not be convicted unless the state was able to prove your guilt to a jury beyond a reasonable doubt. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Understand that Mr. Allen would have the right to confront and cross-examine each and every witness that testifies against you.
Yes, sir.
You understand that you have a right to subpoena your own witnesses to testify on your behalf,
Yes, sir.
to testify in your own defense if you wanted to,
Yes, sir.
but that no one can force you to testify at a trial. You have a right to remain silent at trial.
Yes, sir.
If you chose not to testify, the jury would be instructed they could not use your silence against you in any manner in their deliberations and use you. Understand that? Now, also understand that if you had a trial and there were any legal errors that occurred during the course of the trial, you have a right to file an appeal for any of those legal errors. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
When you enter a guilty plea, however, which you're about to do, you waive and give up each of the rights I've just gone over.
Yes, sir.
So you understand each of these rights.
Yes, sir.
If you have any questions about them whatsoever,
No, Your Honor.
if you wish to voluntarily give up those rights and enter a guilty plea today.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's a decision that you're making with your own free will, because that's how you decided you want to resolve your case.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so I did look it up, and they don't have the non-negotiable blind plea listed, but they have not guilty, guilty, no contest, Alford plea, and conditional plea. The conditional plea is when the defendant admits guilt or no contest, but preserves the right to appeal a specific legal ruling. For example, a motion to suppress evidence to a higher court. So like with Brian Koberger, he pled guilty without the ability to appeal. So let me just, before I hit play again, so non-negotiable. Negotiable is a hard word to spell. So a non-negotiable blind plea, also called an open or unnegotiated plea, is a criminal court decision where a defendant pleads guilty directly to the judge without any agreement or guaranteed sentence from the prosecutor. So my assumption was correct. So there was no plea deal. He, on his own admission, pled guilty with the judge being able to give him his punishment. Learn something new every day.
Mr. Allen, you completed a, what we call a plea sheet.
Yes, sir, I have now.
Yes, Mr. Gray, take a look at that document real quick. You recognize it?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Allen. So, Mr. Gray, I'm holding up the document that just indicated that you just identified. You do in fact recognize the document.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review it in its entirety with Mr. Allen?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this your signature on the backside of the document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Allen, can you put on the record how you reviewed it with him?
Oh, we had a conversation yesterday on the phone where he was looking at a copy, and I was in my office, and we went through it line item by line item. I explained each item to him. This morning, when he came in, I took that same document, went back over it, and he put his initials on each one of those answers that you see before.
Mr. Gray, is that accurate?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Gray, on the form, next to each of the numbered questions, there's initial CG. Did you place those initials or did Mr. Allen?
I place them, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Gray, do you have any questions whatsoever about any of the rights or advisements contained in this form?
No, Your Honor.
You understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I thought that this was going to be what happened, because when his dad went to trial and was found guilty, my thought was, how is now Colt going to go to trial? The jurors shouldn't know that his dad was found guilty, but it seems, I don't know the word. Like, it doesn't seem smart, in my opinion, to continue the not guilty plea when it's already been proven that you were bought a gun to do it.
Mr. Allen, do you have any concerns that Mr. Gray is not understanding the other rights of what he's in himself in entering a guilty plea?
No, Your Honor, I think he's totally capable of making this decision.
Mr. Gray, are you presently under the influence of alcohol, drugs, or any other substance?
No, Your Honor.
For any reason, you're supposed to be taking medication.
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you had access to that medication?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you been taking it as prescribed?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you have a treatment provider, and you're following their recommendations, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Were you able to take the medication yesterday?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you take the medication today?
Yes, Your Honor.
You feel all right today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any mental health issues or mental health disabilities?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that why you take medication?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your mind's clear.
Yes, Your Honor.
And again, your mental health treatment provider, you're following their recommendations as well, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Gray, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Smith, state, what charges is Mr. Gray pleading guilty to today?
Your Honor, all 55 charges.
All right, all 55 counts of the indictments. Mr. Allen, I'm assuming that you have reviewed the entire indictment with Mr. Gray.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Gray, are you aware of all of the charges in the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions about any of those charges?
No, Your Honor.
This is a 55 count indictment, if I'm not mistaken, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Allen, you've reviewed all 55 charges with Mr. Gray.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Gray, you understand all 55 charges?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you understand that you would be pleading guilty to the entire indictment today, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, as I understand it, I want to discuss the maximum and minimum punishment with you, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you understand, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, the minimum punishment that you're facing with the charges that you're pleading guilty to is a life sentence that could be parole.
Yes, Your Honor.
The maximum punishment that you're facing is the rest of your life in prison without parole. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, anything I need to add?
No, Your Honor.
So I wish the judge's mic was a little louder. So for those of you who may not have heard, he faces two possible sentences. The first is life in prison with the possibility of parole, and life in prison without the possibility of parole. So either way, it's going to be life in prison. It's just a matter of whether or not he will be able to be paroled or not. And thinking about the case of Carly Gray, who she was 14 also, or 15, she was sentenced to life without parole, and I didn't agree with that. Same thing with Colt. He was 14 when he did this. He is 16 now, and I feel like him being in prison the rest of his life isn't necessarily the right sentence. However, at the same time, he took others' lives and he gave them their sentence. So it's kind of a catch-22 for me. KCG currently, so he looks much different than he did when he did the shooting. He to me, he looks shorter, like on the shorter side, like maybe like 5'7", 5'8"-ish. And dark hair, short dark hair, glasses. He's wearing a suit, dark suit. Much different. When he enacted the shooting, he had long, orangish blonde hair. Yes, he's white. Yeah, cheese. Thankfully, we're in summer, though, so they've taken a hiatus. But I know schools are starting up next week. So, unfortunately, we're probably going to be hearing about them a lot more.
Now, this is a non-negotiated guilty plea, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, make sure you so, Mr. Gray, you understand that with a non-negotiated guilty plea, there's no plea deal. The state will present a case and make argument for what they think the appropriate sentence is, and Mr. Allen will do the same. Both sides have the opportunity to present witnesses, evidence in aggravation, evidence in mitigation. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand that?
Right, and the judge told them to turn on the mic. I think everybody needs to turn on their microphone. So the judge was just explaining to Colt what a non-negotiable blind plea is. And so he said the state will present evidence to the case, and based on that evidence, he will come to a decision as to what the state will recommend what they believe the punishment should be, and then the judge will make the ultimate decision.
The sentence is solely for you to decide.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then once the sentence is pronounced, you understand that you have no right to withdraw a guilty plea.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, as I indicated, pleading guilty has to be voluntary on your part. With that in mind, has anyone forced you, threatened you, or coerced you in any manner to make you plead guilty today? Have you been promised or offered anything whatsoever that's causing you to plead guilty today? If you had sufficient time to discuss the case with Mr. Allen, tell him everything you want to know about the case.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with the legal representation and advice you've been given?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Smith, I'm going to make a factual basis for the charge.
Your Honor, as a point of order, the original indictment was under seal. I believe we've given you an order to unseal that. Can I?
I've signed the order. You have the unsealed.
I do, so I will unseal it. Your Honor.
Yeah, their mics are trash for some reason. Hopefully they fix it.
Your Honor, counts 1 through 12 go towards the 4 deceased victims. They consist of malice murder in Barrow County on September 4th, 2024, that unlawfully and with malice aforethought caused the death of a human being by shooting them with a firearm. Felony murder in Barrow County on the same date while in the commission of a felony, that felony being aggravated assault, it caused the death of a human being. And aggravated assault in Barrow County on the same date did make an assault upon the person of another with a firearm, a deadly weapon. As to counts 1, 2, and 3, the malice murder, felony murder, and aggravated assault are for the victim of Christian and Gulo. Counts 4, 5, and 6, which are the malice murder, felony murder, and aggravated assault for the victim Richard Aspinwall. Counts 7, 8, and 9, the malice murder, felony murder, and aggravated assault for the victim Anna Christina Irami. Counts 10, 11, and 12 for the malice murder, felony murder, and aggravated assault for the victim Mason Schermerhorn. Your Honor, counts 13 and 14 are for the injured adult. That would be David Phoenix, count 13 being aggravated assault in Barrow County on the same date, did make an assault upon the person of another with a firearm, a deadly weapon, an aggravated battery in Barrow County on the same date that maliciously caused bodily harm to David Phoenix by seriously disfiguring his body by shooting him with a firearm. Your Honor, counts 15 through 23 are for the children who were injured in the assault. That being the charges being aggravated assault in Barrow County on the same date did make an assault upon the person of another with a firearm, a deadly weapon. Aggravated battery in Barrow County on the same date did maliciously cause bodily harm to another person by seriously disfiguring said person's body by shooting them with a firearm. And cruelty to children in the first degree that in Barrow County on the same date did maliciously cause a child under the age of 18 years cruel and excessive physical and mental pain by shooting them with a firearm. For counts 15, 16, and 17, the aggravated assault, aggravated battery, and cruelty to children in the first degree is for the victim, Melanie DeLira Castaneda. For counts 18, 19, and 20, the aggravated assault, aggravated battery, and cruelty to children in the first degree for the victim, Natalie Griffith. And for counts 21, 22, and 23, the aggravated assault, aggravated battery, and cruelty to children in the first degree for the victim, Taylor Jones. Your Honor, the next two counts, 24 and 25, are for the non-injured adults that were in the room 2152 at Apalachee High School that Colt Gray stepped into and fired indiscriminately. First adult victim was Cassandra Ryan, that's count 24, aggravated assault in Barrow County on the same date did make an assault upon the person of another with a firearm, a deadly weapon. Count 25 is the victim, Stephen Edwards, aggravated assault in Barrow County on the same date did make an assault upon the person of another with a firearm, a deadly weapon. Your Honor, counts 26 through 53 are for the non-injured children who were in room 2152. Those counts consist of aggravated assault that in Barrow County on the same date did make an assault upon the person of another with a firearm, a deadly weapon, and cruelty to children in the first degree that in Barrow County on the same date did maliciously cause a child under the age of 18 years cruel and excessive mental pain by discharging a firearm multiple times inside a classroom occupied by said child. For counts 26 and 27, aggravated assault and cruelty to children in the first degree for the victim, Landon Adams. For counts 28 and 29, aggravated assault, cruelty to children in the first degree for the victim, Jackson Beaver. For counts 30 and 31, aggravated assault, cruelty to children in the first degree for the victim, Hayden Bowen. For counts 32 and 33, aggravated assault, cruelty to children in the first degree for the victim, Jalen Brady. For counts 34 and 35, aggravated assault, cruelty to children in the first degree for the victim, Michaela Brown. For counts 36 and 37, aggravated assault, cruelty to children in the first degree for the victim, William Carricker. For counts 38 and 39, aggravated assault, cruelty to children in the first degree for the victim, Marquez Coleman. For counts 40 and 41, aggravated assault, cruelty to children in the first degree for the victim, Kendez Lawrence. For counts 42 and 43, aggravated assault, cruelty to children in the first degree for the victim, Martin Marino Galvez. For counts 44 and 45, aggravated assault, cruelty to children in the first degree for the victim, Tyler Moon. For counts 46 and 47, aggravated assault, cruelty to children in the first degree for the victim, Ariana Norman. For counts 48 and 49, aggravated assault, cruelty to children in the first degree for the victim, Brittany Rubio. For counts 50 and 51, aggravated assault, cruelty to children in the first degree for the victim, Ronald Vega. And for counts 52 and 53, aggravated assault, cruelty to children in the first degree for the victim, Nautica Walton. Your Honor, counts 54 and 55 were for a child that was in the hallway, Zane Zinni. Aggravated assault was count 54 in Barrow County did on the same date make an assault upon the person of Zane Zinni with a firearm, a deadly weapon. And count 55, cruelty to children in the first degree in Barrow County on the same date did maliciously cause a child under 18 years of age cruel and excessive mental pain by pointing a firearm at said child.
And is there anything the state needs to add or would like to add for the factual basis?
There.
Mr. Gray, you heard the factual basis for each count is announced by the state, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you agree that there are facts to support each of the charges against you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you pleading guilty to each of the charges that are in fact against you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, is there anything I need to address before accepting the plea? Anything else?
There.
All right, Mr. Gray, I will accept the plea. I find there's a factual basis for it. You understand the nature of the charges, the consequences of the plea, the rights you give up when pleading guilty, and you are introduced to a freely and voluntarily.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so it seems as if like
So as far as
with Wade Wilson, they had the penalty phase and then sentencing. Whereas this seems like it's going to be all at the same time. So he pled guilty and death isn't on the table. So they're just going to present evidence to the judge and then he decides what his sentence is.
proceeding, I believe the state will be able to present the victim impact evidence and aggravation. We'll go from there to defense for any evidence of mitigation. And the argument, which otherwise can be that. All right, the guilty plea has been entered on the.
Your Honor, before we present the victim impact, I'm going to provide you with a stipulation to the admissibility of evidence that we discussed previously. The defense and the state have agreed to the introduction of evidence from the Apalachee school shooting that the court can consider without having to replay the surveillance video for you today. We have placed it on the thumb drive for you.
Mr. Allen, is that accurate?
Yes, Judge, we discussed this, they gave me a list of what the items would be, I have no objection to it.
So the evidence that's addressed in the stipulation is on a thumb drive that I'll have, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor, you will have it. It was previously introduced into evidence at State versus Colt Gray, and the court has already seen the evidence. So we're asking you to consider the evidence you've previously seen, and the defense is stipulated to your ability to do that. If you need to review it again, it is on the thumb drive for you to do that.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we'll start with victim impacts. We're going to call Brianna Skirmerhorn.
Ms. Brooks, you want to pull that microphone down?
And thank you everyone for being here. I do appreciate it. This is the sentencing, not necessarily sentencing, the plea hearing for Colt Gray, who in 2024 opened fire in Winder, Georgia. His dad was found guilty on all counts a few months ago, and he has pled guilty to all charges. He has entered what is called a non-negotiable blind plea, which states that it is not a plea deal, but in this case, the judge will give him his sentence. Will decide his sentence, I should say. So we are going to have victim impact statements first.
Do you swear her in?
You might as well.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Can you just go ahead and introduce yourself to the court first?
My name is Brianna Skirmerhorn.
And will you go ahead and tell the court what you would like him to know with regards to sentencing of Colt Gray?
I'm the mother of Mason Alexander Skirmerhorn. Although Mason is no longer here physically, I'm continuing to learn from him. Mason was so much more than a victim. He was a son, brother, grandson, and friend. He was deeply loved. Mason was kind, compassionate, funny, and fiercely protective of others. As a child with exceptional needs, he understood what it felt like to struggle and be overlooked by others. Instead of becoming bitter, he became an advocate, not only for himself, but also for his rights. He made people that were typically unseen feel seen, accepted, and safe. Mason even became friends with children who started out as his bullies. I had no doubt in my mind, if Colt had actually attended school as he should have, that Mason would have befriended him. That is a legacy that he should be remembered for. As much as I have felt that I needed to hold on to the hate that I have felt, I know that I can't. Not only for my own health, but how can I stay loved like Mason and hold on to that? So I'm choosing to continue to learn from Mason and honor his legacy. I want it to be very clear that I do not forgive Mr. Gray. However, I can acknowledge that there are two truths that can exist at the same time. The first is that the adults in that young man's life failed him. The people who should have protected, guided, recognized the warning signs and intervened when it mattered the most did not do what they should have done. They failed to give him the support, boundaries, and accountability that every child needs and deserves. That failure is real and it is tragic. I can acknowledge that he was failed without excusing what he did. I can have the compassion for the child that he once was while holding him fully accountable for the choices that he made as a young man. And those things are not mutually exclusive. There's another truth that cannot be ignored. He knew the difference between right and wrong. He knew that bringing a weapon into a school was wrong. He knew that pulling that trigger was wrong. He knew that every choice he made that day would forever alter countless lives. The failures of the adults around him may explain parts of his story, but they do not excuse the decisions that he made. Those decisions were his and his alone, and because of those decisions, my Macy Mace is gone. My family, both biological and chosen, have been forced to endure horrors that no family should ever experience. A member of our family that has been an integral part of our village was who had to identify Mason in school that day. That is an image that he will carry the rest of his life. He and another family member were in the room when we were told that Mason was gone. I can still remember the silence and the confirming nods by my family when I looked to them in utter disbelief, wishing it was untrue, and the heartbreak on my other children's faces. In that moment, our lives split into two parts, before September 4th and after. In one sentence, our future was stolen. Since Mason's death, I've had the privilege of spending a lot of time with the Angulo family and some of the victims, or I don't want to say victim survivors. While each of our experiences are different, we are forever connected by the trauma that his choices caused. I have witnessed incredible strength, resilience, and courage in people who never asked to carry this burden. None of us should know one another because of a school shooting. Yet here we are showing up, loving one another, and trying to rebuild lives that will never be the same. Colt didn't just take Mason's life that day. He took every birthday we would have celebrated, every holiday, every graduation, every milestone, every hug, every conversation, and every dream that he should have had the chance to live. Mason deserved to grow up. He deserved the chance to continue advocating for those that needed a voice. He deserved to become the man, husband, and dad that he was meant to be. Mason deserved a future, and we all deserved a future with Mason in it. And Colt took that from Mason and everyone who loved him. I hope that one day he truly understands the weight of what he chose to do, not because it will bring our loved ones back or erase the damage that he caused, because nothing ever will, but because genuine remorse begins when excuses end. Every morning I wake up to the reality that my son is gone. Every night I go to bed knowing that there is nothing I can do to change it. I have lived 688 days so far of a sentence with no parole, and that is what he should receive as well. Thank you.
We will next have Alana Skirmahorn, Mason's sister.
Did you have any questions, Mr. Allen?
And I know this is blurry. I'm going to just quickly refresh this to see if it fixes it. I don't think it's me because I'm connected directly to the internet, but I just want to make sure that I think it's Law and Crime is having some issues. And of course, I didn't see. Here we go. Okay. So I did refresh. Hopefully, I think it's them. It's still super blurry. Oh, and we don't want the chat there.
Go ahead and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Yes. Okay. Go ahead and speak into the microphone and introduce yourself to the court.
My name's Alana Skrummer Horn-Wallace.
And can you tell the court what you would like him to know in the sentencing of the state of Georgia versus Colt Gray?
Before I talk about what was taken from me, I want to talk about who Mason was. To the court, he may be known as one of the victims of September 4th, but to me, he was my little brother. Out of all my siblings, Mason and I were the closest in age, and because of that, I felt that we shared a bond unlike any other. We grew up together, we understood each other in ways that's hard to explain. He wasn't just my brother, but he's one of my best friends. Some of my favorite memories are simple ones. We spent countless hours playing video games together, whether it was Roblox, Minecraft, Genshin Impact, or whatever game we were obsessed with at the time. We always found a way to have fun together. If one of us couldn't beat a level, complete a quest, or figure something out, we would jump in and help. We celebrated each other's victories, laughed at our mistakes, and never hesitated to help each other out. Looking back now, I realize the ordinary moments became some of the most meaningful moments I have. Mason had one of the brightest souls I've ever known. He saw the good in people, even when they couldn't see it in themselves. He chose kindness over anger. He believed people deserve second chances, even the people who bullied him. They eventually became his friends because that's just who Mason was. He didn't hold on to hate. He had a way of bringing out the good in others. He never judged people for their disabilities, the way they looked, where they came from, or anything that made them different. He accepted everyone exactly how they were. He treated everyone with the same kindness and respect because that's how he lived. Even during difficult times, Mason seemed to find some light. He had a way of making people smile, making situations feel less heavy, and reminding people around him that things would be okay. That is the person who's taken from us on that day. Not just the name in the courtroom, not just another victim in a headline, a little brother, a best friend, a great, compassionate, and genuinely good person who deserved the chance to keep growing into the incredible man he would have been today. September 4th, 2024 started like any other Wednesday. I actually woke up a little later than usual that morning. Mason and I went to different high schools, so by the time I got out of bed, he had already left for school. I never got to see him that morning or say goodbye like I normally did, which didn't seem like a big deal at the time. Around 10:52 that morning, everything changed. I was a student helper in one of the band classes helping a group of freshmen in a separate practice room when I got a text from my mom saying, "Are you okay? What's going on?" I didn't understand what she meant at the moment, so I ignored it, and I kept helping the students. And then not even a minute later, someone came into the room and said we were going into lockdown. Rumors started spreading almost immediately. Students were shouting things out that they saw online, shooting at Apalachee. There are 5 shooters. Nobody knew what was true, what wasn't. We didn't know how serious it was. We didn't know if the danger was over. We didn't know if anyone had been hurt. We just waited. As the minutes passed, several of the freshmen came up to me because they were scared. They'd heard the attack mainly involved freshmen, and they were worried about their friends at Apalachee. I don't remember every conversation, but I remember one perfectly. One of the students looked at me, and he said that he was scared for his friends. I didn't know students and teachers. He said he was scared for his friends. Trying to confront him, I told him the chances of anyone in this room being directly affected are slim to none. And I believed it when I said it. At that point, I didn't know there were confirmed deaths. I didn't know students and teachers had been shot. I didn't know people were fighting for their lives in hospitals, also trying to calm a frightened freshman who was terrified about people who he cared about. Around that same time, my mom texted me again, "I can't get a hold of your brother on the phone." Even then, I wasn't worried. I told myself Mason probably left his phone in the classroom in his book bag. I never imagined there would be another reason that he wasn't answering. As the day went on, the room became quieter. The panic settled into silence as people played games while we waited to go home. During this time, my phone never stopped vibrating. Family members, friends, coworkers, everyone kept asking me the same question: has anyone found Mason? But no one could give an answer. At that point, someone from my work group chat sent a video of students being evacuated from Apalachee. And in the background, there's a body covered in the hallway that I later found out was Mason. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just another school lockdown. This was real, and I wanted nothing more to go home. Around 3:13 p.m., 2 minutes before the bell rang, I opened social media just to pass the time while we waited to be dismissed. Instead, I saw my sister's post saying that Mason did not make it out of the school life that day. September 4th was not just the day I lost my brother. It was the day I lost the life that I knew before. It was the day my sense of safety, my ability to see the world the same, and the future I imagined with Mason in it were taken from me. The hardest part is that the world kept moving after that day. People went back to school. People went back to work. People continued their normal lives, but my family didn't get to. We didn't get to learn how to live in a world where Mason no longer existed. This experience has changed the way that I have seen safety. Before September 4th, I believed that something like this could never happen to me or someone I loved. Schools where I went to learn, see friends, and make memories, but then it happened to Mason. Now, every time I walk into a school building, a thought immediately crosses my mind. If it can happen to my brother, then why can't it happen to me? The question is something I never had to ask myself before September 4th. I find myself looking for exits when I enter buildings. I pay attention to the people around me. If someone is walking behind me in a hallway or a staircase, I feel myself wanting to move away or get somewhere safer. Loud noises, unexpected sounds, and certain situations can bring me back to the fear and uncertainty of that day. It's not because I think every place is dangerous. It's because I know that the place where I once felt the safest was the place where I lost my brother. I used to walk into school believing I would leave the same way I came in. Now part of me is always wondering if I will. The impact of this day did not only change the way I felt when I walked into school building, it also changed the way I was able to function as a student. After losing Mason, I was trying to balance two realities at the same time. I was expected to be a full-time student in college, completing assignments and preparing for my future while also trying to grieve and process everything that had happened. During this time, I had to miss a lot of school because of court proceedings and everything that came with seeking justice for Mason. I wasn't missing classes because I didn't care about my education. I was missing them because I was dealing with something no student should ever have to experience. And what hurt was that I had to provide proof of what happened in order for my situation to be understood. I had to provide my brother's death certificate to my school for my absences to be excused. Having to prove my grief was another painful reminder of what happened. I wasn't asking for special treatment. I was asking for understanding. Being in court for college trial wasn't just difficult because I had to hear what happened, but it was also difficult because I saw things I shouldn't have. Throughout the case, I was exposed to multiple photographs, evidence, and video from the shooting. The close-ups of the bodies, the autopsy reports, and even the video of my brother's final moments. This isn't something that I can just forget. I replay the video in my head all the time. I replay the video in my head all the time. The way you shot my brother twice, you saw him scared and running, and then you proceeded to shoot him in the head, killing him instantly. You saw how scared he was. You saw how he was trying to run. But all you cared about was murdering innocent people. All you care about was murdering innocent people because you want to be like your twisted-minded idol. But of course, the twisted-minded stuff doesn't end there. Because of people on social media purposely finding my accounts, my videos talking about my brother, saying that he should have dodged the bullet or that he deserved what happened to him. I want you to understand something. What you did not end on September 4th, 2024. You may have pulled the trigger that day, but the pain you have caused has continued every single day since. You didn't just take my little brother from me. You took away him from my parents, my siblings, his classmates, his teachers, and everyone who loved him. You took away a future that Mason deserved to have, and I'm angry that you did that. I'm angry that I had to sit in the classroom comforting scared freshmen while not knowing you had already ended my brother's life. I'm angry that I had to walk into my own home knowing Mason would never walk through that door again. I'm angry that I had to see evidence from the worst day of my life and carry memories that nobody should ever have. I'm angry because none of this should ever happen. But I'm also angry at how cowardly you are. You sat there and you planned everything that you were going to do that day. You sat there and wrote down the amount of fatalities you wanted. You made sure that you packed everything that morning so you'd be ready. And then you sat in that stall preparing for what you were about to do. Instead of going through with this plan, no. Instead of going through with this plan, I honestly think he should have killed himself. Instead of killing 4 people and injuring others, he should have taken himself out. Instead of coming up with this whole elaborate plan, he should have made a plan to off himself instead. I'm not saying this just because he took Mason from me. I'm saying this because if he had this sick and evil thought to be like that other worthless school shooter and inflict pain on a whole community, he doesn't deserve to be here. You had time before you left school that morning to change your mind. You had time in your first period of class to change your mind. You had time while you were in that bathroom to change your mind, but you didn't. Instead, you went through with your plan. And not only that, but as soon as you were caught, you surrendered. You can willingly shoot all these people. It didn't feel an ounce of remorse, but as soon as the gun is pointed towards you, you get scared because you're the definition of a coward. You didn't feel remorse after shooting into that classroom. You didn't feel remorse after you shot those teachers, and you definitely didn't feel remorse after you shot my brother in the head. You didn't feel remorse after you watched my brother collapse and bleed out in front of you. He should have killed himself. Because him being gone would have saved this whole community from experiencing the unimaginable, and then maybe his life would have actually meant something. You will always be remembered as a coward, a psychopath, a freak, because of what you decided to do. But the victims, Christina Irmi, Richard Astewall, Christian Angulo, and Mason Skirmerhorn, will be remembered because of the people they were. They will be remembered because of their kindness and positivity they added to the world. They deserve to be here today. Mason deserves to be here today. Mason was kind when he didn't have to be. He saw the good in people when others didn't. He turned people who hurt him into friends. He never judged anyone for how they looked, what challenges they faced, or what made them different. You took away someone who chose kindness every day. You took away someone who still had so much life ahead of him. You took away the chance for me to see who my little brother would become. And that is something I can never get back. You will soon face the consequences of what you did, but my family will spend the rest of our lives facing the consequences of what you took from us. The difference is that you made a choice that day, but we did not choose this.
No.
Yes.
All right, so they're discussing something.
is another sister of Mason.
And so it seems like her statement is ended. I heard them say there's another sister of Mason's that's going to speak. I did want to say, though, that I agree when she said, he should have taken his own life and left everybody else alone. I always think that. Why hurt other people when, it's even the ones that hurt people and then take their own lives? Like, why not just hurt yourself? Like, leave other people out of it. So I definitely felt her statement a lot. And I did see some comments. Doodles had said, many times no one speaks. Standing there is heavy. It can be too heavy. Agreed. And hey, Grain, how are you? And I think the victim impact statements, especially, I was saying in chat with Cheese, like when there's a jury, I think that I would be able to not take that into account. I would look at just the evidence, just the facts. Yet, and I think the victim impact statements actually usually happen at sentencing, because at that point, the jury has already decided guilt and it's just the judge. Unless there's a penalty phase trial, that's different. Like we saw with Wade Wilson, some of the victims' families testified, which that again was not, well, no, it was jury. They decided life or death. So I can see both sides. All right.
Feedback before you call me next.
My name is Liliana Ahmed. I am the oldest sister of Mason Schermerhorn.
And you can go ahead and tell the court what you would like him to know in regards to the sentencing of Colt Gray.
September 24th, 2024 is the day that altered my life in more days than I can think possible. That day is unfortunately a day that is branded into my brain. It was a Wednesday. I was at work. It was a normal day. Started off good even. At 11:25 a.m., I got a text message from one of my close friends asking if I heard about the school shooting at Apalachee. I instantly thought this was a joke or a false alarm. Nothing like this is supposed to happen in Winder. I graduated from Apalachee when the school body was barely 1,200 kids. We always poked fun about how boring and rural our school was. There was no way this could be real. My first instinct was to call my mom. I thought surely if Mason was scared, he already called my mom and told her he was fine. Of course, it's no surprise to you that Mason was not okay. I lost it. I had my first ever panic attack. I stayed at work fighting the thought that my brother was dead. There's no way that this could happen to me. By 2 p.m., there was still no update on Mason. No one could find him. I felt hopeless, so I posted a picture on social media begging people to message me if they saw him. He used to run away when he got really emotionally overwhelmed. And I was praying that this was still true in this instance. Praying that he was scared and hiding somewhere. From my car, I frantically called every single emergency room in Atlanta, Gwinnett, Barrow, and Clark Oconee counties to see if anyone had a John Doe that fit his description. No success. At this point, I was at home because I was holding out hope that Mason was okay. My mom even asked me, when we find Mason, can we have a sleepover? Mason had to be okay. I will never forget the exact moment I found out Mason was dead. The exact moment that I found out you killed him. The hour-long drive to Winder was the quietest car ride I have ever had with my husband. The only thing I could manage to mutter was my baby brother, over and over again, like my brain was rejecting the thought of him being gone. We arrived at my parents' house, a place that used to hold nothing more than laughs, happy memories, and petty sibling arguments. turned into a place that sends my nervous system into absolute disarray. From that point to about 6 months following, everything is a blur. As you can imagine, I have had a lot of time to reflect on how the past 688 days have impacted my life. Since I was 7, almost 8 years old, a large part of my identity has been being a big sister. I am the oldest of 4, and there's a significant age gap between me and my siblings. Being the oldest sibling and oldest daughter has shaped me in more ways than I can express, especially being a big sister to siblings with special needs. One of the ways that has shaped me has been my ability to look beyond a person's behaviors and search for the why. There's always so much more to a person's actions besides what we see at face value. This ability has led me to be naturally forgiving and compassionate. I've even dedicated my professional career to this ability my siblings have fostered in me. Whenever I come across a child that is met with any circumstance out of their control, whether it be a diagnosis or environment, I can't help but feel compassion. Admittedly, I feel compassion for Colt, and I hate that. He is a product of 2 people that did not deserve the privilege of bringing life into this world. His actions are a testament to that. He's broken. He made so many cries for help that were met with little to no action. He grew up around so much turmoil. He saw and experienced things that no child should even be able to imagine. He could have rebounded from all that. Instead, he decided to allow my baby brother to pay for the pain others caused him. He still had the ability to be resilient, but he chose to doom himself. He is ultimately a failure. Despite the little bit of compassion I do feel for him, being in the same room as him disgusts me. I know much is not known about Mason, so I would like to take some time to tell you all about him. Mason is a success story that Colt could have been. He struggled a lot in school. He had big emotions that he didn't know how to regulate. He was bullied. He had a cocktail of mental diagnoses from a young age. He had the ability to turn into Colt, but he didn't. He even spent the summer before his freshman year of high school being tutored through algebra because he was that determined to succeed. Teachers and students across all the schools Mason went to talk about how big of a heart he has, how he is so sweet, the kind of sweetness you don't expect from a 14-year-old boy. He spent most of his school years in more contained classrooms, but he had friends in special education and general education classes. He didn't care what someone looked like, what disability they did or didn't have. He was going to be friends with them, and he could have been he was friend to so many, and he could have been friend to one more had Colt not robbed himself of that. Mason would have loved him. My mom would have taken him in. My family's house could have been a haven for him, but he robbed himself of that. Not only did he rob himself of Mason, or rob himself of that experience, but he also robbed Mason. From a very young age, Mason wanted to be a family man. He wanted to have a wife, kids. He wanted to go to school and pursue a career. He even asked questions about God. All of these different parts of himself he didn't get to explore because of Colt, because of his pain. Because of him, my little brother Gavin has to grow up without his best friend. Because of him, my little sister Alana has to grow up without her best friend. Because of him, my mom has to live with 1/4 of her missing. Because of him, I have to live without the little boy that gave me so much purpose from such a young age. Because of him, laughing or having a good day feels like betrayal, because I feel like I shouldn't experience those things with my brother gone. Because of him, I get a pit in my stomach anytime I look at pictures of Mason. Because I know that's the only way I can see him now. And because of him, large crowds and gatherings make me anxious. And because of him, I'm forced to write in a journal when I want to talk to Mason because I don't want to miss any details for when I see him again. Because of him, my brother died alone and scared. He was the last person to see Mason alive, and he took him from us. All of this because people hurt him, and he felt like others needed to atone for it. All for what? Just to become another statistic. He has quite literally reduced his life to his failures and shortcomings. He could have made something of himself. He could have had a friend in Mason to lift him up. Instead, he made himself nothing more than another data point. I hope he lives with that for the rest of his life. I hope he remembers that he is insignificant. Despite him stealing the lives and innocence of so many people, their endings and this pain he caused will not define them. They will define him, however, and he will be forgotten. I hope he remembers that he did this to himself. I hope he remembers that any regret or remorse he feels is a privilege compared to the death sentence he gave my brother. I don't care what his sentence is, and I don't care what happens to him. It won't measure up to the sentence he gave my family. He stole my baby brother from me, and I don't forgive him. I hope the rest of his days are filled with remembering just how much of a waste he is.
All right, next we have Shayna Aspinwall, Richard Aspinwall's wife.
All right.
Can you please raise your right hand? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Yes. And go ahead and introduce yourself to the court and then tell him what you would like him to know in the sentencing of Mr. Colt Gray.
My name is Shayna Aspinwall. I am the wife of Ricky Aspinwall, who was murdered in the Apalachee High School shooting on September 4th.
You can go ahead.
Okay. No words can fully express what was taken from me and our family and everyone who loved my husband. On the morning of September 4th, he left for work. We expected him to come home, just as he always had, and said our lives were changed forever. My husband was more than a victim. He was my partner, my best friend, and the person I planned to grow old with. He was a loving husband, a devoted father, a teacher, a coach, an uncle, a son, a brother, and a friend. He brought kindness, laughter, and strength into our lives, and his absence is felt every single day. The grief of losing him is constant. There is an empty chair at our table, silence where his voice used to be, and countless moments when I instinctively reach for him only to remember he's gone. Every holiday, birthday, anniversary, and ordinary day is a reminder of what has been stolen from us. Our family has had to face not only overwhelming emotional pain, but also the practical realities of moving forward without him. The future we planned together no longer exists. The dreams we shared ended the moment his life was taken. Now, our daughters, who were 5 and 2 at the time, must grow up without their father. They will miss his guidance, his encouragement, his hugs, and all the milestones he should have been here to witness. Birthdays, graduations, weddings, and the everyday moments that make up a lifetime will forever be marked by his absence. No sentence the court imposes can bring my husband back. Nothing can restore the life he should have lived or the years he should have shared. But I ask the court to recognize the profound and permanent harm this crime has caused. The loss extends far beyond one day. It is a life sentence of grief and trauma for those left behind. I ask that Ricky's killer is not given an opportunity for parole. The trauma it would continue to bring me and my daughters, knowing that there is a chance, even a small chance, that he would get out of prison, would be continued torture for my family. We've already been through enough without having more fear in the back of our minds. Once I die, my daughters will then have to suffer through parole hearings alone. I think that everyone would agree that facing it alone is a burden that they should never have to bear. In closing, I hope my husband's life is remembered, not for the violence that ended it, but for the love, compassion, and dedication he showed to his family, his students, and colleagues, and everyone fortunate enough to know him. That is certainly what his family and friends remember about him. And until I take my last breath on this earth, I will always remind my daughters of what a special person he was. Thank you.
Short and to the point.
All right. Next, we have Ismail Angulo Jr. He is Christian's brother.
Oh, sweet Christian.
Go ahead and introduce yourself to the court, and then you can go ahead and tell
My name
me.
is Ismail Angulo Jr. I am the oldest sibling of Christian. Your Honor, I am writing this statement to share the devastating reality of what was taken from my family and to ask this court to deliver the absolute maximum sentence allowed by law. The impact my brother's loss continues to have on my family is something I wish on no one. Every day is a nightmare that we have to wake up to remind ourselves of our new reality. A very painful one. The days my nephew comes up to me and tells me he misses Titian breaks my heart. I have no words that I can tell him, so I just hug him tight. My little brother Christian Gabriel Angulo was only 14 years old. He was the best. He was the best uncle, the best brother anyone could have asked for, and a great son to my parents. The defendant's family will still get to see their son, talk to him, and know he is breathing. My mother, my father don't get that privilege. The only way to visit Christian now is by standing over his grave. There is no fairness in that reality. Christian was a beautiful, innocent soul who was robbed of his dreams and had so much ahead of him. Because of this defendant's choices, Christian will never get another chance at a life. I carry so much pain from that day, knowing that this coward's violent acts shattered thousands of lives in a single instant. I know the death penalty is off the table because of the defendant's age, but if his age is being considered, I want to ask, does Mason Skrimmerhorn get a second chance when he was only 14 years old, robbed of his dreams, stolen far too soon, before he even had a chance to grow up? Does Coach Richard Aspinwall get a second chance to be with his wife and be a father to his young daughters? Or will he miss the rest of their lives because this coward took his life? Does Miss Christina Ermy get another opportunity to live, teach, and be with her husband? Do all 9 of the people who were injured that day get to live without the physical and emotional scars forced upon them? Does my little brother Christian get another chance to live another day? No, they don't. They will never get to experience the beautiful or painful moments that life has to offer because this defendant deliberately took those chances away from them. The defendant showed no mercy when he stole their futures, and therefore he should not receive the grace of a second chance. While the law spares him from the ultimate penalty due to his age, it does not require this court to ever grant him freedom again. For Christian, for Mason, for Coach Aspinwall, for Ms. Ermy, and for every person injured and broken by his actions, I ask that you sentence this defendant to life in prison without the possibility of parole and ensure he never has the opportunity to walk free or inflict this unbearable pain on another family ever again. Thank you, Your Honor, for hearing my voice and honoring the memory of my brother. Forever my brother, long live Christian. Thank you.
Do you have questions?
Well spoken, also. Short and to the point.
And Your Honor, I believe the next several are going to be juveniles, so just for the court's knowledge and for the media's knowledge of not photographing their faces.
All right, the media should be aware that you cannot photograph, disseminate, or broadcast the faces of the juveniles.
So in other words, we will watch Colt the majority of the time.
Testify next for anyone in this proceeding.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's okay. Go ahead and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and speak into the microphone and introduce yourself to the court.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Taylor Jones, and I'm a student at Apalachee High School.
Okay. And go ahead and tell him what you would like him to know in the sentencing of Mr. Colt Gray.
On September 4th, 2024, I was really scared and confused because I saw a Colt standing in the doorway with the gun. After I heard the first gunshot, I saw my teacher jump onto the floor, so I did too. And a few seconds later, I had realized I had been shot, and I immediately turned to my friend Landon, asking him to hold my hand. After the gunshot stopped, my friend came over to me, helping me in any way they could. I remember telling my friends to call my brother to let him know that I had been shot and I didn't know if I was going to make it. Right after that, I started having trouble staying awake. My friends were sitting with me, doing anything they could to help me stay awake. The next thing I remember is waking up in the helicopter. I was very terrified, and I started asking them to take me to the hospital. Once I got to Grady, I started having trouble staying awake again. When we landed, There were lots of doctors surrounding me. My memories after landing at Grady are not good, but I would be in and out of the hospital for 3 or 4 months. I required life-saving surgery and many more surgeries after that. I was in lots of pain, on many medications, and I was told that I might not be able to walk again. About a year later, I was able to walk again with support, and soon after that, I started walking on my own. As you all may know, not only did his actions affect me and my family that day, but it infected the entire Apalachee community. Although Colt's actions hurt me, I refused to give up. Every day I continued telling myself that I am strong and I am brave. After the shooting, I struggled with so much anxiety and I felt like my life was completely over. I couldn't do anything a normal 14-year-old should be able to do. I wasn't able to go to school, so I switched to homebound where I met my teacher, Miss Harrington. She was the only person from the school to call and check up on me the only one that came out to the hospital to see me and make sure that I was doing okay. Moving on from this experience is very hard, and if I hadn't met some of the people that supported me along the way, I don't know where I would be. I've been going to physical therapy for almost 2 years now, and my therapist, Jess, has always made sure that I was okay and always comforted me when I was having rough days. This experience has been one of the hardest things anyone could go through, but I've learned so much from it. I hope my story makes Colt realize the horrible things that he has done and all the pain and suffering that he has caused. I hope my story brings light into someone else's story that's also gone through the same thing I've gone through and reminds them that they are not alone. A just outcome will help me finally begin to heal in peace. I hope that Colt is sentenced to life in prison without the chance of parole. Thank you.
Any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Why don't we go ahead and take about a 10-minute recess?
All right, so they are taking a break. So let's fast forward. And thank you again, everyone, for being here. I do appreciate it. We are only going to do about half of the hearing today. Tomorrow we will finish it up, just because sitting here for hours isn't my thing. So we'll get as far as we can in about 2 hours, and then tomorrow we'll finish up the rest.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Natalie Griffith. On September 4th, I got shot twice, once in my wrist and once in my upper arm. I lost the ability to use my left hand, but on some days it doesn't feel like that is the biggest thing that I lost. The morning of the shooting felt normal. I got on the bus and sat alone because my friend Lorelai wasn't.
And unmuted. So the reason I paused is because I thought that I had this on 1 1/4 speed. It appears I do not. So when she started talking, I was like, let me slow this down so that we can actually understand her. But that's the way she was talking. It wasn't me. So the court is now asking her to slow down. Yeah, Cheese, thank you. I muted so that I, and then I forgot to unmute when I started talking. Thank you.
Sorry. The morning of the shooting felt normal. I got on the bus and sat alone because my friend and Lorelai wasn't on the bus. I was cold because I forgot my jacket and I was wearing one of the new t-shirts I got for my birthday. I was listening to a song called ADHD and thinking about how we were going to start a new unit in algebra. I never thought for a second that there would be a shooting. Then there was one. Ms. Ryan was about to give instructions. I think we were about to break into small groups when I heard a banging and thought it was a fight. Never once did I think that it was a gun or a bullet. I never thought something like that would happen here. Those things happen in places where the sun doesn't shine as bright. Now, whenever I hear loud sounds, a door slamming, a book dropping, or people crowding and talking in another room, my mind immediately goes to the worst possible scenario. I wonder if there's a gun.
I wonder if I need to run. I'm still very afraid of loud sounds, and I start to panic when I hear them. Some days when I think about the shooting, it feels like he killed me, even though I lived. The part of me that trusted people died, and I lost myself before the shooting. My smile was different. I did not think about danger the way I do now. I did not constantly think about my surroundings. I think about the shooting every day of my life. I wonder when I will stop thinking about it every day, and then just like that, I've lost again. I wonder how different my life would be if that one moment had never happened. I wonder I wonder whether the person I am today is the person I would have become if the shooting had never occurred. After the shooting, I felt like my independence was taken away for a while. I could not put on my own clothes by myself or do my own hair. Things that used to be easy for me were now impossible challenges. Even now, whenever I try to tie my shoes, it's never quite right. To this day, I cannot type normally, which has impacted my ability to be as successful in school as I want to be. I cannot hold many things because I lost the use of an opposable thumb. The recovery process has been long and difficult. I had to undergo 2 different surgeries, attend physical therapy twice a week for the first year, and then once a week after that. Tasks that should be simple remain difficult. But the physical injuries are only part of what I lost. When everyone went back to school, I went back too. But not because I wanted to, but because I knew if I didn't, I never would. I wanted to be near my community, but going back also reminded me just how many things have changed. Physically, the shooting changed nearly every part of my life. I lost the use of my left arm. For a year, I could not cut my own food, and I had to rely on other people to help me. I lost the ability to play my flute, and I couldn't participate in marching band, which is one of my favorite things to do. I was in physical pain because my nerves were trying to heal, and I could not do the things I loved, like crocheting or playing video games. I remember sitting in my living room and crying because I was so frustrated, angry, and sad that the things I loved had been ripped away from me. The shooting was like an earthquake. My entire world was moved and rocked, and when it finished, nothing was in the same place it started. The strange thing is that for most people, the world kept going. There was no earthquake, and I think back to the day and become angry knowing my life was permanently changed by the decisions of one person. The shooting has affected how I look at my future. I'm limited in what jobs I can apply for because I do not have full use of my hand. I worry about what my life will be like years from now and whether it will ever feel normal. I think about the people who did not get to go on living. I think about Mason and Christian and their families. Their mothers both have 4 children, and now they only get to hug 3. They only get to talk to 3. I knew both boys since elementary school. I never expected them to not be here. Every day since the shooting, I've thought about what I would say to him. Every day I thought about if I had more time to speak to him on that day of the shooting, what would I have said? So I'd like to be able to do that now. I hate you and I'm mad at you because you had options. You had other options besides going in and killing a bunch of innocent people that did absolutely nothing to you. If you had waited maybe even 2 months, you would have found friends. I would have been your friend, and I know a bunch more people would have if you had just waited. I think you're entitled for doing the things that you have done, and I hope that every single day you think about the other options you could have had. I hope that 10 years from now you think, hey, I did this thing, that was so stupid. And I hope that you realize something that you did when you were 14 is going to impact you for the rest of your life. When you could have gone on and lived a good life. The shooting took much more than the use of my hand. It took my sense of safety, my independence, my trust, and a part of the person I used to be. While I survived, I carry the impact of that day with me for the rest of my life. It only seems fair that every innocent person that has had to feel the impact of Colt Gray's choices for the rest of our lives, then he should receive the maximum sentence for his crimes. Have a great day.
And I just want to say one thing that happened at the beginning. When the court asked this young girl to slow down her rate of speed. The fact that Colt laughed, I don't know why, but it really pissed me off. Like, how dare you laugh when you shot this girl? Like, you hurt her. And I get it, maybe because it was funny, but I think it's just weird. It's wrong. He shouldn't be laughing at all. That's my opinion.
And nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Go ahead and introduce yourself to the court.
Hi, my name is Monica Walton.
And you can go ahead and tell the court what you would like him to know in regards to the sentencing of Colt Gray.
The past couple of years since September 4th have been the hardest years of my life. About once a week, I find myself thinking about what would it feel like to be normal again. I think about my freshman year, but not with happiness, with anger, confusion, and sadness. For a long time, I was angry at the world because of what you chose to do. At some point, I became afraid of everything. I hated the dark because it reminded me of when the lights went out and all we saw was emergency lights. I hated sitting faced away from the door. I hate the thought of walking to second period by myself. Over time, the fear turned into something even worse. I started to hate myself because I couldn't truly live anymore. I felt guilty because I let you take every piece of joy I had away from me. I let you steal my happiness, not only from me, but the people that love me and my friends. I hated everything about you. I hate the scars you left on my body. I hate that you took innocent lives in front of innocent people. Most of all, I hated that I let you live in my mind rent free. Every time I closed my eyes, all I could hear was screams and cries. But after a while, something changed. It slowly turned into courage. Even though I'm scared to stand here today and speak in front of the courtroom, I refuse to let you win this time. I refuse to let you see me the way you saw me September 4th. I refuse to let you believe that you have control over me or control over my classmates. Most of the hate's gone, but all the scars are still there. All the triggers are there. All the emotions are still there. Those things are never completely going to disappear. You took away the innocence of so many kids in that classroom that day just because of what you were going through. That's something that we will never get back. What you cannot take away from me is the person I am choosing to become. I'm still here, I'm healing, and I'm finding my strength again. Every day that I continue to move forward, I'm showing you that you did not destroy me. You changed my life forever, but you will not define the rest of it.
Thank you.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Such a sweet girl. Like, these poor kids.
Go ahead and raise your right hand.
Yeah,
You
super
swear to tell the
brave.
truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the court.
Good morning, I'm Hayden Bowen.
And go ahead and tell the court what you would like him to know about the sentencing of Colt Gray.
First, I want to start off by saying that I forgive you.
Hey, can you speak up a little?
You need to address the court.
I want to start off by saying that I forgive you. Not for you, but for me and my peace. What you went through at the hands of your parents was not okay. And I don't wish that thing, but it does not excuse what you did. It was not right. It completely changed my life. It disrupted not only me, but my family and our lives. My family is often anxious about me and constantly checking up on me because of how much it affected my life. I now live with fear lurking behind me everywhere I go. Everywhere. I have frequent panic attacks. I can't stay in places for too long. I can't go out anywhere. I can't even stay in my own bedroom. without feeling fear. I'm not able to be a normal teenager anymore. Before all of this, my biggest concern was who was going to walk me to class. But now I can't go a second without having to think whether or not I'm going to be safe while trying to learn. Of course, I'm so angry. But I know my God, and evil never wins.
Any questions?
No, Your Honor.
I know it. And like Marie said, these kids are so brave, 14 years old going into a courtroom and facing the person who hurt them and their friends, killed their friends.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Go ahead and introduce yourself to the court.
Your Honor, my name is Ariana Norman.
And you can go ahead and tell him what you would like him to know about the sentencing hearing for Colt Gray.
Your Honor, thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak today and share how September 4th has impacted me. My name is Ariana Norman, and I'm giving this statement regarding Colt Gray. September 4th is a day I will never look at the same again. It was a day where many people experienced chaos, high anxiety, and tragedy. September 4th was a day I should never have had to witness, and it has affected me and the Barrow County community deeply. This shooting has deeply affected my mental health. Since the September 4th shooting, I have been prescribed medication for anxiety because of my constant worry that something bad would happen again. I would often, after the shooting, wake up from nightmares and have to get help just to go back to sleep. Sometimes even just walking around my neighborhood months after the shooting, I found myself feeling like passing cars would harm me. Because of this, I no longer feel safe in my halls, which makes it hard to learn because I feel like I'm constantly looking over my shoulder, just waiting for something bad to happen. And any sort of loud noise always alerts me because I feel like something bad is going to happen. For example, I don't hear fireworks the same again because to me, they sound like gunshots. And when it's far away, it can be hard to tell the difference, which always gives me anxiety. And now I feel the need to identify an escape route everywhere I go because I get scared that I'm going to be trapped like I was on September 4th. The people at Apalachee could have been friends with Colt, but he decided to take a different route. And for this, he deserves whatever punishment he is giving. Thank you for listening.
Any questions?
No, Your Honor.
From our offices in arena.
Hold up. Was he just smirking? Hold on. Oh, no, he wasn't. He was just smirking.
Next, Ms. Alex Daniel.
I was going to say.
From Michaela Brown. She was one of the students that was in the classroom that day. Her statement says, the Apalachee High School shooting on September 4th, 2025 was a tragic and terrifying event that has affected not only the people directly involved, but also students everywhere. Knowing that something like this can happen at a school makes me feel very unsafe and anxious. Since being involved with the shooting, I've felt scared to even go in the dark to take my dogs out to use the bathroom. Loud noises like doors slamming hard make me jump because they remind me what could happen. It's hard to feel relaxed or normal when things like that are always in the back of my mind. I also get nervous being home alone because I'm thinking someone's going to break in and hurt me. I don't feel as safe as I used to before. I used to think Apalachee was going to be a safe place for me to learn and graduate and make new friends, but now I just go to school thinking I'm not safe here. This situation shows how deeply events like this can impact students mentally and emotionally. It's not just something that happens and goes away, it stays with people. Schools are supposed to be safe places, and when that safety is broken, it changes how we feel every day. And Judge, the second statement is on behalf of Jackson Beaver, who was one of the individuals, one of the children that was injured in the classroom. It was prepared on behalf of him and his family, I believe prepared by his mother, Sarah Beaver. It says, Your Honor, I have struggled to find the words for today because there are no words that can fully explain what September 4th, 2024 took from so many people. I stand before you as the mother of a child who survived that day, but surviving is not the same as being untouched by it. As I prepared this statement, I found myself wrestling with emotions I never imagined I could hold at the same time. Part of me looks at the defendant and sees a 14-year-old boy. I see a child who somewhere along the way was failed by the very people and systems that were supposed to protect him. I see a child who deserved safety, love, guidance, and intervention long before violence became part of his story. I grieve for the innocence that was stolen from him before he ever walked into Apalachee High School. But another part of me sees the person who made a choice that forever changed hundreds of lives. I hate that he lost his childhood, but I hate even more that he believed it was his place to steal the childhoods of the others. He didn't just take lives. He took futures, he took peace, he took the feeling every parent has when they watch their child walk into school, believing that they will come home that afternoon. Today, I want this court to remember the names of the people whose lives were forever changed. Mason, Christian, Richard, Christina. They were not victims on a page. They were sons, daughters, teachers, friends, classmates, and loved ones. They should be remembered for the lives they lived, not simply for the ways they died. I also want this court to remember Natalie, Melanie, Taylor, Jackson, and every other student and teacher who survived physically, but continue to carry invisible wounds. Remember the ones who have scars that they see every day and have flashbacks to the horror that they endured. Some injuries heal, others become part of you forever. The weapon used to cause all this destruction didn't just pierce Jackson's skin, it stayed there. 8 to 9 pieces of metal are permanently embedded in his thigh. He is forced to carry the literal weight of a mass shooting inside his own flesh every single day. The defendant's childhood may explain how we arrived here, but it does not excuse where we ended up. Because while he may have been failed by adults, he became the reason innocent children lost their sense of safety forever. Parents like me now understand what it feels like to wait for a phone call that may never come. Children now know what gunfire sounds like inside their school. Families now live with empty chairs, unanswered questions, nightmares, anniversaries, and grief that will never fully disappear. There's another loss that is harder to describe. Before September 4th, 2024, I believed schools were safe places. I believed that if I hugged my child goodbye in the morning, I would see him that afternoon. I believed tragedies like this happened somewhere else, and that version of me no longer exists. The defendant did not only change the lives of the people inside the walls that day, he changed every parent who sent a child to school afterward, wondering if today would be the day their world falls apart. I have compassion for the child he once was. I have compassion for the life he should have had. But my compassion cannot outweigh the devastation left behind by the choices he made. Two things can be true at the same time. He was a child who was failed. He was also the person who failed countless innocent children and their families. And one tragedy does not erase another. Nothing this court does today can bring back Mason, Christian, Richard, or Christina. Nothing can erase the trauma carried by Natalie, Melanie, Taylor, Jackson, the other survivors, their families, or this community. Justice cannot change the past, but it can acknowledge the weight of what was taken. I ask this court to remember every name, every family, every empty seat, every scar that cannot be seen, and every life that will forever be measured as before September 4th, 2024, and after September 4th of 2024. That is the true impact of what happened. Thank you.
Alrighty, so I'm not sure.
And Your Honor, that concludes our victim impact at this time. We would like to take a short break before we begin presentation of further evidence.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, my understanding is, we're going to move on to additional witnesses.
Okay, so I'm gonna, before we move on, I am going to actually close that YouTube page. Oh no, what happened to my background? I'm gonna close that and reopen it because on my phone, I went back to the lawn crime video and I don't see the blurriness. So maybe it's because they ended it. I don't know. This hasn't ever done this before. So I'm just gonna open it up again and see if it helps. The blur, maybe it doesn't bother you, but it's like irritating me. It just keeps going blurry. And then I'm like, do I need to clean my glasses? No, I don't. It's because it's the video. It's driving me crazy. Oh, nope, not that. That's me. I don't want me on the screen again. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to, so they took a break. I'm going to just fast forward till, and then I'll add it again. Hopefully that'll help things because, well, maybe not. It looks like it's still blurry. All right, well, it is what it is.
And tell the court what you would like them to know in the sentencing of Mr. Colt Gray.
Thank you, Your Honor. Again, my name is Jessica Rayberg, and I have served as an administrator for Barrow County Schools for 7 years, specifically the principal of Apalachee High School since 2023. Apalachee High School is also where I taught English for 12 years, and before September 4th, 2024, I can attest to approximately 2,463 days that joy filled that building. On the dawn of its 25th year as an institution of learning and opportunity, it became a place of horror and loss. This morning, the staff of Apalachee met for the first time to open up the 2026-27 school year, and I should be with my teachers helping them prepare right now. We should be finalizing standard procedures, tweaking student schedules, and decorating classrooms, all while sharing summer stories. But we will also spend many additional hours becoming experts in new duties far beyond our original academic training. Many walk in under a dark cloud and dread any reminders of that terrifying day. So we will meet to prepare trauma-informed instruction and tirelessly learn how to rebuild a learning environment where half the current student body cowered in fear during their second period just shy of 2 years ago. The loss of 4 lives is more devastating and more important than anything else experienced on September 4th. The families of 4 incredibly special people have endured the unthinkable, and we remember them and grieve with them every single day. The cruel actions of Colt Gray caused the loss of precious lives, and for that, he deserves the harshest consequences. The 7 physically injured, some of whom have courageously spoken today, are incredible humans who have scars both external and internal that should not exist. We admire their bravery and resilience, and for the turmoil and pain caused by Colt Gray, he deserves the harshest consequences. What also must be addressed today are the mental and emotional burdens and anguish that thousands of students, staff, and families of the Apalachee community will carry for the rest of their lives, some of which may never fully heal. The trauma thrust on this once rural hometown is unnatural. The reckless and selfish choices of Colt Gray deserve the harshest consequences. There is no measurement for the deaths and physical impact caused by his calculated decisions, and the overall impact, both visible and invisible, of the September 4th tragedy stretches to countless victims. There were nearly 1,900 students and 200 staff members making up this remarkable community in 2024. There were 20 schools and programs in the Barrow County school system who locked down for hours, fearing the unknown and the worst. There were surrounding
Oh, come on.
Teenage intruder. The act destroyed a learning community that will take years to reconstruct, if even possible, and who knows what could have been without the time, energy, new personnel, and resources expended daily just to make it possible for students and faculty to be able to teach and learn. School should be a safe environment for young people to grow and experience joy. In less than a minute, he took a basic human right from thousands of innocent students, and he turned staff members into impromptu paramedics and caregivers. He destroyed what once felt like the most safe and secure place. He stole the ability to focus and not zone out. He turned conversations about where should we eat after the football game into is it even safe enough to be on that campus at all. He ripped a community of its pride. Now a balloon pop is triggering, an accidental lockdown sends hundreds running, absolutely scared of death. Procedures drastically changed across an entire state. Small children are screened for weapons before running to hug their favorite teachers and starting their reading and math lessons. When the light flickers, panic sets in. Loud noises and unknowns cause paranoia. One moment can ruin essential academic lessons for the rest of the day. Entire family traditions and holidays are put on hold. Couples divorce. Others need new medication just to stay calm enough to attempt to work or care for their own children. Events are missed, loneliness creeps in because no one understands, and friendships fade because humans become shells. The students of Apalachee High School had to grow up and mature in a single inhumane instant. Some threw desks to block doors, others applied pressure to wounds. Later, all but two evacuated with their hands above their heads, while 6 left on stretchers, and the survivors learned immediately how to console each other. They then experienced grief, faced deep fears, and became resilient. Still, on any good days, there is a heaviness, a weight that is carried daily, and every decision is made through the lens of trauma and recovery. An attempt at the new normal is exhausting, and for some it has been too hard to endure. Many have changed their entire surroundings, lifestyles, or careers just to keep going. A facility was built as direct support, and a facility sits unused to avoid trauma. The ripple effects we felt for generations, and all because a stranger among us took what did not belong to him. As my staff and students soon prepare for the 2-year mark, we will persevere through safety drills, new bell schedules, and uncertainty. We will continue to rebuild. The work is ongoing and never finished. We will pour into our students, comfort them, and create experiences that we hope bring some joy. But it will never be the same. He's a thief. And more than that, he is also a murderer. The most important pieces he stole from our community are Coach Aspinwall, Miss Irmy, Mason, and Christian. We are not whole without them, and we will always honor them in everything we do, while grieving for their families and what they would have continued to contribute to our school and many other lives. We have more to teach them and more to learn from them. They had more memories to make with their precious families and more days to make our world brighter. We carry their legacy forward daily, even through dark times, and I ask their murderer be placed where he may feel the depths of what he's done.
Thank you. Do you have any questions, Mr. Allen?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So I think there may be, actually, I think the victim impact statements are over. So we'll probably get through one witness and then we'll end for today, and then we'll pick up tomorrow because, like I said, the blurriness is driving me nuts. Yeah, Steph, you must have been here when we covered it. It was probably, I mean, it only seems like it was a couple of months ago. I think maybe it was in May. I feel like it was in May.
Go ahead and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Go ahead and have a seat and introduce yourself to the court.
My name is Jason Smith, and I'm an investigator with the Barrow County Sheriff's Office.
And how long have you been with Barrow County Sheriff's Office?
Approximately 13 years, or correction, 16 years.
How long have you been with the Investigations Division?
Almost 12 years now.
What part of that division are you in?
So I'm assigned to our Persons Crimes Bureau.
Okay, and were you in that same role in September of 2024?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
And I am gonna speed it up just a little bit. If it's too fast, I'll slow it back down, but I feel like they're talking a little too slow.
Are you the lead investigator for the Apalachee school shooting back on September 4th of 2024?
Yes, ma'am.
And before we get into your specific involvement, I'd like you to just take us briefly through what happened that day leading up to when Mr. Colt Gray was arrested.
Okay. Let me get you to hang on for just a second. Is everything okay?
I have to stand by next week right now. If you don't, sorry about that.
Sorry. Thank you, Brooks.
And I'm going to have you use this map to do that. Can you just kind of look at it and identify it for us?
Yes, ma'am. This is a, you have a pointer? Do you want me to use? Don't see one.
Okay, and then is this the
Yes, ma'am.
partial Apalachee school map?
It is. So this area right here, this is what is referred to as J Hall inside the school. The adjoining halls are I Hall, which is located right here. And then you have K Hall, which is right here.
Okay. And is that a fair and accurate representation of that part of Apalachee High School?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Your Honor, this time I introduced the evidence states that 344, which is the partial map of Apalachee High School.
Mr. Allen?
No objection, Your Honor.
It's admitted.
Can you show us on that map where the defendant's second period class was?
Yes, ma'am. The Colt Gray second period class is located right here. This is Mrs. Catherine Greer's classroom, and it's designated by classroom number 2.151.
Okay. And while he was in that class, what did he do?
So that morning on the video surveillance footage, you can see Colt come inside the classroom. He opens up his notebook. He stays in the classroom until approximately second period at Apalachee starts at 9:45 in the morning. So approximately 9:54 hours, Colt Gray tells his teacher that he is going to go see a crisis counselor, at which time he exits his classroom, but does not go to the counselor's office. And instead, he makes his way down J Hall to the student bathroom located right here. Those are designated by the number 2.148.
And what did he do in that bathroom?
So in that bathroom, Colt Gray remains in a stall inside the bathroom, preparing for what he is about to do. And he ultimately is seen on the video surveillance footage exiting the bathroom area at approximately 10:21 hours.
What does he have with him when he exits the bathroom?
When Colt Gray exits the bathroom, you can see him carrying his book bag. The rifle is still partially concealed in it. He carries that back down towards his second period class and attempts to make entry into the second period class.
Is he able to make entry into that class?
No, ma'am, he's not.
Where does he go after that?
After that, he moves down the hall to classroom 2.152. This classroom is Ms. Ryan and Coach Edwards' classroom, and he is able to make entry into that classroom.
What happens inside that classroom?
So Colt Gray fires into this classroom multiple times, striking numerous students, and ultimately causing the death of Christian Ngula.
What does he do after he leaves that classroom?
After he leaves this classroom, it appears that he kind of becomes distracted and comes out this way. Christian Ngula ultimately shuts the door to that classroom, preventing Colt Gray from re-entering the classroom. So Colt continues down the hall until he gets to approximately in this area, at which time Ms. Jeremy in classroom number 2.145, she opens the door to kind of check and see what's going on, and she is struck at that time.
And what does he do after that?
After that, Colt continues to move down the hall. And as he's moving down the hall, Coach Aspinwall and Coach Phoenix. They exit. I'm sorry. Oh, yes. So Coach Aspinwall and Coach Phoenix, they exit the classrooms. Again, they're coming down the hall to see what the noises are, to see what's going on. At that time, Colt Gray engages both. He strikes Coach Phoenix and Coach Aspinwall, and they return to down the hall. Colt continues on down J Hall, at which time he comes into contact with Mason Skirmahorn, who exits the men's bathroom.
And what happened at that point?
At that point, Colt Gray opens fire on Mason.
After he shoots Mason, what happens?
At that point, Colt continues on down the hall to where he gets to, this is K Hall, and he points his rifle down, aiming it at a student by the name of Zane Zane. At this moment in time, this is when, at this hall right here, this is F Hall, and this is when SROs Sergeant Donovan Boyd and Deputy King are coming down F Hall. They announce and give verbal commands to Colt to put down the rifle, and he does it.
And at that point, is he apprehended?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
Okay, thank you, Professor. If you can sit back down. On September 4th, were you at work that day?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
And did you receive a call that there was a shooting at Apalachee?
Yes, ma'am, we received radio traffic that there was an active shooter at Apalachee High School.
Did you then go to Apalachee?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do when you first got there?
So when I first got there, I made entry into the school from a cafeteria entrance, or an entrance near the cafeteria. I made contact with Sergeant Brett Maxwell and Deputy Greg Jones in the cafeteria area. I was informed that they believe they had one shooter in custody, but there was a suspicion that there may be a second shooter. So at that point, I assisted with clearing the side of the school that had not been cleared.
As you were working to secure the school, did your Lieutenant Wilkerson, give you a specific task?
Yes, ma'am, he did.
And what was that?
That was to conduct an interview with the shooter, Colt Gray.
Can you kind of tell us how that happened?
So we were I was coming back into the lunchroom area, headed back towards, after we had cleared our side, heading back towards J Hall to see if I could be of some assistance. And while coming through the cafeteria area, Lieutenant Wilkerson made contact with me.
And at the time he asked you to interview him, where was Colt Gray?
So Colt Gray, once he had been apprehended, he was located in this area right here. I'm sorry, I'm shaking. Directly in this hallway, which is the intersection of K Hall and J Hall.
When you came into contact with him, was he still in that area?
Yes, ma'am. He was handcuffed in that area.
Where did you take him in order to interview him?
So we, after we started the evacuation process at J Hall, there was an open classroom nearby, 2.139, which is the last classroom, and it was the closest classroom to where Colt was at that time.
Approximately what time did you begin to interview him?
I believe the interview started at 10:54 hours.
So that was approximately 30 minutes after the shooting?
Yes, ma'am.
During the course of the interview, was he handcuffed?
Yes, ma'am.
Was anyone with you during that interview?
For a portion of the interview, Special Agent Jeremy Howell with the GBI and Lieutenant Wilkerson were there for a portion of that interview.
Approximately how long did it last?
I believe it was approximately an hour and 15 minutes.
At the conclusion of that interview, what did y'all do with the defendant?
So I advised Colt that he was under arrest, and ultimately Colt was transported to the Barrow County Detention Center for processing.
Did you interview him again?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And where did that interview take place?
That interview took place at the Barrow County Sheriff's Office Criminal Investigations Division.
Was anyone with you during that particular interview?
Yes, ma'am.
And who was that?
That was Special Agent Nick Johnson with GBI.
And how long did that interview approximately last?
I believe it was approximately 2 hours.
And at the conclusion of that second interview, did you read him the warrants that you had taken out for his arrest?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Do you, at that point, what warrants had you taken out?
I believe the warrants that I took out were for the offenses of aggravated assault and felony murder.
I know ultimately y'all took out more warrants, but at that time, what, if any, reaction did Mr. Gray have to the warrants that you had taken out?
He just stated that he understood there was very little reaction or emotion.
We're going to play the interviews later, but before we get into that, I want to ask you a few specific questions about those interviews. During the interview at Apalachee High School, your first interview, did the defendant tell you where he found his rifle that he used in committing this crime?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did he say he found it?
He said that he found it in a lockbox or a toolbox.
And did he indicate whether or not he had to look hard to find it or whether or not it was easy to find?
Yes, he said he had to look hard to find it.
Did he continue to say that same thing throughout the interview, that he had to go get his firearm from a locked box?
Yes, ma'am.
Did the location of that box change throughout the different interviews?
It did.
And kind of tell us what it changed from and to.
So initially, I believe Colt stated that the rifle was somehow secured in his father's vehicle. And then ultimately, when we were going back through the timeline of Colin leaving early that morning, Colt kind of said, well, maybe it was somewhere else.
And during the course of your investigation into the shooting, did you determine whether or not the gun was in fact hidden?
We did.
And what did y'all determine?
We determined that it was kept in Colt Gray's bedroom.
And so him indicating that it was hidden was not true.
Correct.
During your initial interview, how did he tell you the shooting came about? As in, did he tell you that it was planned or not planned?
Colt indicated that it was spontaneous, that it was a last minute thing, that he came into school that morning, had heard voices, and that he just, on the way to get help, on the way to the crisis counselor, he just decided to conduct the shooting.
Did he reiterate that lack of planning in the second interview as well?
He did.
And again, during the course of your investigation, did you determine if the shooting was just for the moment or if it had actually been planned?
No, ma'am, it appears that it was planned for quite some time.
And how did you determine that it was planned?
So there was a search of Colt's cell phone, and on that cell phone, there were notes dating back some months indicating that he had made plans. And also there was a black notebook that Colt had taken to school that day. And inside that black notebook was a pretty detailed plan.
I've just given you what's in marked as Exhibit 337.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recognize that?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And what do you recognize that as?
So this is the 3-ring binder that Colt Gray, we commonly refer to it as the black notebook, but it is a 3-ring binder that Colt took to school that day.
And is that the notebook that you indicated during earlier testimony that you opened up in Ms. Greer's class?
Correct.
And is that where that notebook was ultimately found?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, this time I'd like to introduce an evidence to Exhibit 337.
Mr. Allen? No objection, All right, 337 submitted.
And before we go into what was in the notebook, at this time I'd like to play State Exhibit 236A. It's previously been introduced under the stipulation. It is a clip from Ms. Greer's second period class. I'm going to ask investigators a couple questions about it.
All right, this was stipulated to Mr. Allen?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, it's submitted.
Can you kind of orient us to where Colt is, or Mr. Gray is in this video?
Yes, ma'am. If you direct your attention to the bottom of the circle here, we're not going to see that. So at the bottom of the circle right here, this is Colt Gray, and this is his desk.
Okay, thank you. All right, and this is approximately 9:46 a.m.
Yes, ma'am.
And is this going to show when he opens up the black notebook?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so at that point in the video, he opens up the notebook. Does he at some point then leave the classroom?
He does.
And when he leaves the classroom, does he leave that notebook open up on his desk?
Yes, ma'am, he does.
And at this time, we're going to show the clip from Ms. Greer's classroom where he leaves the notebook open. He indicated earlier that he told his teacher that he was going to go see a crisis counselor. Is this the point where he tells her that at some point in this part of the video?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then, do you know what ultimately happens with that notebook?
Yes, ma'am. Sometime after Colt left and went to the bathroom, there is a young lady that was seated next to him. The desks are kind of put together in a group of four. So his neighbor to the left of him, she ultimately closes that notebook, and she places that notebook on a shelf below a whiteboard that was located directly behind Colt, so that another classmate can come sit next to her.
And we're going to show the clip from 10:14 a.m. where that student places the notebook behind her. Is that location where the notebook was ultimately found when the GI was processing the crime scene?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And this time I'm going to bring up State Exhibit 10, which also has been previously introduced under the stipulation, and is a crime scene photo of the black notebook. And can you kind of tell us on that picture where the black notebook was ultimately?
Yes, ma'am. If you look at the whiteboard over here to the right side of the screen, there's a black notebook that is sitting long ways on that aluminum shelf below the whiteboard.
Have you had an opportunity to review the contents of that notebook?
Yes, ma'am.
And at this time, I'd like to start going through the contents of that notebook.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're going to start, so this is State Exhibit 337, and I'm going to display page 1 of that for the court. Can you kind of take us through the writings on there that you can see?
Yes, ma'am. At the top of the page, there's the number 29 circled. So it says 29, including teacher. Below that, directly in a circle with, it looks like apostrophes around it, states September 4th. And then if you look further down on the page on the left-hand side, there appears to be a drawing in Mr. Greer's classroom, judging from the layout that you saw in the surveillance footage, as well as what's drawn here. And then further down on the page on the right-hand side, it states suicide 50-50 live with a question mark. Again, there's some more writing and scribblings below that with the word why. But also directly below Miss Greer's classroom drawing, states I'm not a killer, stop, I'm scared, along with some other doodles.
And I just want to pause here because, we had heard just a little bit ago that Colt said that it was last minute. This shows that it was not last minute. I mean, this is crazy. Crazy. Including teacher. He counted up how many people. And it makes you wonder, did he write this, stop, I'm scared, I'm not a killer? Did he do that to kind of make it seem like he was hearing voices? Or was he really hearing voices and he wrote that down? I mean, I wouldn't put it past him to make it up.
To kind of zoom in on the portion of the classroom and pull up a screenshot of Miss Greer's classroom next to it. So, and you mentioned, oops. That's okay. We will not zoom in on it, but we will pull it back up. You mentioned that it appears to be, the drawing appeared to be Ms. Greer's classroom. Can you kind of talk us through that?
Yes, ma'am. On the drawing, if you look at the drawing on the top right-hand corner, it states desk. It's kind of labeled. And if you look at the video surveillance system on the right-hand side, up in the top right-hand corner, is Mrs. Greer's desk. Also, if you refer back to Colt's drawing, there is a rectangle with what looks like TV written beside it. As you can see in the video surveillance, there is a TV in the lower right-hand corner.
And do the kind of orientation and the number of what appear to be desks in that drawing match the orientation and number of desks in her actual classroom?
Yes, it's very consistent.
Okay. based on this drawing, does it appear that the second period class was in fact the target of the shooting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we're gonna move to page 2.
Which is interesting because, and for those of you who may not have seen Colin Gray's trial, who is Colt's father, they did show a video where Colt tried to get back into his second period class, but a girl who was standing near the door, when she went to open the door, she saw him with the gun and, told her teacher he has a gun. That's when the lockdown button was hit. And unfortunately, he had just enough time to get into a different classroom.
Okay, and can you kind of take us through what he has written on this page?
Yes, ma'am. At the top of the page, there's some letters that are written. Below that it states, "Wow, I did not expect." If you look further down on the page, what kind of jumped out to me was
they need to turn the brightness down. I can't really see. It doesn't make any sense. It's it's just letters and symbols. Something right. This says right, WRITE, I write. Something I write.
the sentence, "God, here I am, prison."
Is that kind of in the middle of
Yes,
the
ma'am.
page there?
If you kind of look in between, he goes back and forth between scribbling and writing sentences on this page and doodling. But if you look halfway through the page, it states, "God, here I am in prison."
And then we're going to move to page 3. And these appear to be sort of symbols of some sort.
Yes, ma'am.
Moving to page 4. Can you tell us what this page is?
Yes, ma'am. And reading through this, this appeared to be kind of Colt's plan for what he was going to do on September 4th.
And before you read it, based on kind of the content of the plan as well as you viewing surveillance video from September 4th, did the defendant write this plan prior to going to school on September 4th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And can you read it for us?
Okay. So at the top it states class. It says second, walk from first to the bathroom. So I'll set my bag down, open it, and put on vest. I'll take it a moment or two to stay calm and really think about if I want to do this. Take out the poster covering rifle. Take out the rifle and prop it up, against the wall. Vest should be on at this point. Get out gloves that are in your backpack and put them on. Clap a few times to make sure they're on tight. Once done, zip up backpack, check mags, slots in vest. And then down at the bottom, he kind of details what magazines he was planning on bringing. He draws 2 magazines and identifies those as 20-round magazines. He draws a little bit larger magazine and labels it as a 60-rounder. And then he draws a 4th magazine and labels it 30-rounder. And if you look a little bit further to the right, he identifies that he will have 110 rounds total.
Wow. And it's ATP commonly known as at this point?
Yes.
I mean, that is... I'm trying to think back to Columbine. I know they planned it out as well. And even, trying to think back to Nicholas Cruz, I'm going to have to look because I know they planned it, but I don't know if they planned it to this extent. Probably Columbine did. I don't think Nicholas Cruz did. I know Nicholas Cruz did videos detailing what he was going to do. But this is just, a step-by-step, to remind yourself what you're doing. Why not just write down, don't do it? So then when you look at the list, don't do it.
So in this plan, he talks about bringing a vest. Did he ultimately bring a vest to school that day?
No, ma'am.
Also, you mentioned earlier when you were going over what the defendant did that day, that he left Ms. Greer's classroom and went to the bathroom.
That's correct.
And in this plan, specifically, it says first to the bathroom. Is that correct?
Correct.
In his interview at the sheriff's office, did he give you an idea or did he tell you whether or not going to the bathroom was planned or if it was just sort of spur of the moment?
In the interview at CID, he told me, and again, that this was a spur of the moment thing.
And based on this written out plan was at sort of the moment you go to the bathroom?
Absolutely not.
He also, in the plan, mentions takeout, poster covering rifle.
Correct.
In his interview at the sheriff's office, what did he say about the poster being around the gun?
So he said that morning that he just grabbed whatever gun and whatever ammunition he could find and whatever he could, what paper he could to hide the rifle.
So again, he acted like the poster was not a planned aspect of this.
Correct.
And based on this written plan, was that truthful?
No, it was not.
Now, also in the plan, as you mentioned, he outlines the exact magazines he intends on reading. During his interview, what did he say about the magazines?
During the interview, he just said that he grabbed whatever was available. He didn't indicate that he intended to bring a specific number of rounds or magazines or anything like that.
And so based on the plan, did he intend to actually have specific magazines that he brought?
Absolutely, yes, ma'am.
And when he ended up actually bringing the magazines to the school that day, are these drawings accurate as to what, or close to accurate as to what magazines he ultimately brought?
Yes, ma'am. 3 of the 4 are accurate.
Now we're going to move to page 5, which is the second part of his written out plan. Can you read through that for us?
Yes, ma'am. On the top, it states, begins, onto the thing, wait a bit, make sure no one is walking in or out of the bathroom. Gloves should be on. Take out your 60 rounder and put it in the chamber, put it in and chamber around. Okay? Turn on your red dot. Aim down at the floor to make sure your sight is on. Check your vest and make sure that it is on tight. Once done, check the stock to make sure it's at your preferred setting. Put on hat, make sure hair is out of face.
Wow.
Set backpack to the side. Pick up rifle with right hand, open stall door with left. Don't shoot anyone in the bathroom. You will alert people.
Like, this is insanity. I mean, he was writing down every single move he should do. Like, what was this, to remind him what he had planned on doing so that he didn't veer off the plan? I mean, this is, and he said, on to the thing. In other words, on to me killing innocent classmates and teachers. This is sick, man.
And ultimately, did he follow?
He was 14 at the time. And I believe the threat, the Discord threat where he had said something about being the next school shooter was, I think it was about a year prior. I think it was exactly a year. I think it was September 23, because that Christmas, December 23, is when his dad bought him the gun. I'm going to have to verify, but I'm pretty sure it was like a year apart.
That plan.
Yes, ma'am.
We're going to move to page 6. And again, can you tell us what this is?
This is another more detailed drawing of Ms. Greer's classroom. Specifically, what kind of jumped out to me about this one is on whichever day Colt made this prior to September 4th, he appears to document that there were empty seats in the classroom on this specific day. And again, you can see the TV in the bottom right-hand corner and Mrs. Greer's desk in the top left-hand corner. Colt also identifies his personal seat.
And is that there at the bottom right where he says myself, I believe?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And can we bring up that screenshot again? Side by side. You indicated that on whatever day he wrote this, he put EM to indicate an empty seat.
Correct.
Are the empty seats different than what actually occurred on September 4th?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So again, does that indicate to you that this was written on a different day than September 4th?
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Now we're going to move to page 7. And kind of, can you take us through what he wrote on this page?
Yes, ma'am. This appears to be Colt's plan for how many people he thought, how many casualties or injured that he thought were going to be subsequent to the shooting. So at the top it states hallway. I'm thinking 3 to 4 people killed, injured, question mark, 4 to 5.
Wow.
On the right-hand side, he states classroom, 15 to 17 killed, injured 2 to 3. Further down.
And I was muted before. I was saying, like, wow, he actually planned out how many people that he wanted to kill or injure.
On the page, classroom 2, 3 to 5 killed, injured 2 to 3. And then in parentheses, it says, surprised if I make it. And then down at the bottom, he draws some squinty emoji.
Well, and thankfully, he didn't make it to a second classroom, you know, because they had those buttons that if the teacher pushed the button, the school went into automatic lockdown. And Mr. Phoenix, who had gone out in the hall to see what was happening, it was literally seconds after he left the classroom. I don't even think he was out of the doorway yet when the alert came up.
As far as this plane, does it appear that he planned to actually enter a second classroom?
Yes, ma'am.
And viewing the surveillance video, did he walk down the hall to look for another classroom?
Yes, ma'am.
We're going to move to page 8. Can you just kind of summarize what is on this page?
Yes, ma'am. This is where he repeatedly wrote the word why over 100 times. Down at the bottom, he kind of writes out a sentence, why am I like this?
And then we're moving to page 9.
Again, he writes the word why repeatedly. I think this was over 20 times.
Okay. Then we're going to move to page 10.
Again, on this page, Colt again writes the word why approximately 100 times.
Page 11.
This is Colt again writing the word why. This appears to be approximately 60 times. And in the middle of the page, there seems to be some type of cryptic letter or code with the word why written out to the side.
And then we're going to move to page 12.
This is the word animal written 6 times.
Page 13.
This is a drawing of a sad face, and at the top it's written, I can't wait, I can't wait.
Page 14.
Hey, Nanny.
This appears to be some type of scribble.
Page 15.
It almost looks like a person to me. Like it looks like a person standing over another person, but or maybe it was like it could be a smiley face too. But what the heck, man?
Again, this is just a whole entire page where he decided to scribble in a notebook.
Page 16.
This is a drawing. There's some doodles at the top of the screen. But further down, you can see a drawing of a firearm with the number 10 pointing to the magazine.
And then the final page, page 17.
At the top of the page, you can see a stick figure that appears to be standing behind a door. And to the left of that door, there appears to be a semi-automatic handgun with a silencer and an extended magazine firing into or through the door. Below that, it says extended mag. And then there's the word Healy is written in the middle of the page. And then below that are a couple more drawings, one of an AR style rifle, and the one above that, another appears to be handgun.
Okay. And that the entirety of what was in that black notebook that was found at Apalachee High School on September 4th.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You know, I know it's about noon. That kind of concludes that portion of our questioning.
Seems like a good stopping point. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take.
All right, and that is a stopping point for us as well because it's been almost 2.5 hours. But I wanted to make sure we got through at least this part of his testimony. So tomorrow we will be back at 4 p.m. Eastern time again, and we will finish up what they did after lunch. I have to look at it because I do have my live stream scheduled on my second channel at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and I don't want to cancel that. So depending on how much more we need to get through, and I will have it on 1 1/4 speed, I'll figure out how much time we need. It may be a little bit earlier than 4 o'clock, maybe 3 o'clock, just so that I have some time to chill before my second stream. And we are going to talk about imposterism. So, or imposter syndrome, I should say. We had read the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an FUCK by Mark Manson, and I've been getting emails from him since then. So I get his newsletter. And the last one I got was about imposter syndrome. And just reading about it, I'm like, wow, like that's me. And I figured there's probably other people too who feel the same way. So we're going to just talk about imposter syndrome and see where that takes us. So I agree. So Chloe, and I had never heard of it before. And there's actually a name for it. So it's not necessarily what you think, like people acting like something they're not. It's actually the opposite. Being something great and thinking you're not. It's bizarre. It's fascinating, but that's what we're going to talk about on my second live tomorrow, because I'm done with drama stuff. Like I just can't do it anymore. So, you know, and unless someone says something about me, I'll clip it, but we're not necessarily going to do those drama lives anymore unless something happens and then I have to respond. But hopefully that doesn't happen. And I saw Nanny got back from fishing with her grandson. I hope you had a great time. Yeah, me too. Yeah. And it's just, I mean, when you think about it, like, what is it doing for us? Nothing. You know, I unsubbed from every drama channel. And I don't miss it. I really don't. So anyways, thanks everyone for being here. I do appreciate it. We will be back here tomorrow. Right now, 4 p.m. Eastern time. If anything changes, I will be sure to give notice, you know, change the time sooner than later. So well, not necessarily Marie, but for now, I mean, there's so many more important things to do, and there's more important people to care about than that crap. So have a great rest of your day. If you haven't hit that like, please do so on your way out. If you happen to watch this on the replay, #replay, leave a comment below. No outro. So until next time, y'all, I will see you on the flip side.